Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, brought to you by Lay of the Land. And I do hope you're having a very good end of your Pesach. Pesach has ended already for us here in Israel. We observe a day less than the diaspora. But for all of you out there, I hope that you've had a great Easter, a great Pesach, and a very good Ramadan. So let's take a look at those top stories. We didn't do a show yesterday because of the end of Pesach, but let's take a look at what you may have missed in the headlines. Security and tensions still run high across the country, and yesterday it was announced by Prime Minister Netanyahu that he will not be allowing any non-Muslim ascension of the Temple Mount, at least until the end of Ramadan. Tensions have been high following clashes in the Al-Aqsa Mosque last week, and coupled with that, we've had rocket attacks and terror attacks that have claimed at least 4 lives in the last couple of weeks. The decision by Prime Minister Netanyahu was supported by the cabinet, except for Itamar Ben-Gvir, the National Security Minister, who called it an act of cowardice. Meanwhile, the elite Global Intelligence Unit, which measures democracy and democratic states, has rated Israel at number 23. Israel ranks above countries like Portugal, Spain, Italy, and the United States. The index takes into account a lot of variables, including the freedom of the media as well as business. Now, who is the most democratic country, you may ask? Well, Norway comes in at number 1. And this global index comes in at a time where so-called human rights organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have increased their attacks against Israel, calling Israel an apartheid state and undemocratic. Israel's President Herzog, in an interview with the New York Times, says that he is confident that Israel is approaching a constitutional moment. Now, the president has been moderating talks between the opposition and the coalition government with regards to the proposed overhauls of Israel's Supreme Court. The overhauls are on pause until the Knesset sits again next month, because there have been an incredible amount of protests against some of the clauses in those reforms. The president says that he is confident that this will be a moment in Israel's history that is constitutional. And if we read into that, does it mean that Israel will have a constitution that will be written? We do know that lawyers from both sides met to bat out the legal issues surrounding the overhaul. The president also went on to say that, Israel is a very strong country. We are very united no matter where we are in the political sphere in terms of defense and security. And if required, Israel is capable of defending herself. The Knesset will sit again next month, and we are expected to see the coalition government push forward for continuation of the overhauls. Last night across Israel, delighted people of Moroccan descent celebrated Mimouna. That is a traditional Moroccan celebration of the end of Pesach. Is very festive, filled, of course, with wonderful food, including a pancake called moufleta, as well as various delicious pastries. Prime Minister Netanyahu and his wife Sarah attended Mimouna celebrations in Hadera, and the Prime Minister spoke about the importance of unity. And that brings us to the end of Pesach. And as you can imagine, the supermarkets were packed with Israelis today, stocking up on bread and, of course, maybe some whiskey. Well, that was just me. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our newsletter is in the process of going out. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button. And we're on Facebook at Lottel Site. If you do see our posts, please like, share, and subscribe. And we're on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5, and you can follow us there. I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you all a wonderful weekend and Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you again for your top stories on Monday.